Hello and welcome to this Dr. Frost video on multiplying or dividing surds with algebra. We want to simplify fully root 2 lots of x to the 4 times by the square root of x squared over 18. Let's just write that out so we can then simplify it. Well, firstly, note that when we have the square root of a fraction, we can square root the top of the fraction and square root the bottom of the fraction. So let's do that first. So root 2 x to the 4 multiplied by root x squared over root 18. And we can simplify further because we can simplify each of these things. The square root of x squared is just going to be x because the square root cancels out the squared there. And then we've got root 18. We could simplify root 18 because root 18 is root 9 root 2. We saw how to simplify surds in a previous video. So now we've got root 2 x to the 4 multiplied by x over 3 root 2. So 3 root 2 like that. Now we've got a fraction here multiplied by a non-fraction. And when you multiply a non-fraction by a fraction, we can multiply them together by turning the non-fraction into a fraction by just putting it over 1. We've seen that many times before because that enables us to times these together now. So in the numerator, we've got root 2 x to the 4 times x. Now if you imagine that x is x to the 1, remember laws of indices, x to the 4 times x to the 1, you add the indices, it's going to be x to the 5, and we've got that root 2 on the front. I could put in brackets if I want, it's just for clarity. And at the bottom of the fraction, we've got 1 times 3 root 2, which is just 3 root 2. Now can you see that we could divide top and bottom of this fraction by the root 2? I can just divide by the root 2, I can just cross them out to divide by it. And we're left with x to the 5 divided by 3. Or if you prefer, we could write that as something x to the 5. So we could write it as a third x to the 5. So it's fine to either leave your answers this or this. They're perfectly acceptable. It's in some ways a matter of personal preference. I personally prefer that, but either way is fine.